Fight!
And for those who are wondering, this is Matt, joined by...
I am David, Natural Awesome. You all know me. The guy that makes the stuff and the things.
And the third man in the booth.
I am Garrett, and I will probably be talking the least.
I am Matt. I will be talking the most. But I think we all kind of knew that.
Well, I don't even play Magic outside of a little bit of random EDH, so I'll probably be talking the least, actually. I have the least to contribute, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, I'll be talking the most. The amount I contribute or not, we'll see.
I don't play a whole lot of Standard. Basically, try to watch the Open weekend and then the Pro Tour of every set, but other than that, I don't get a whole lot into Standard.
It looked fun.
I always think like the first 2 weeks of a Standard look really fun, and then there's one deck that's super...
Except the price you have to pay for the good cards.
Yeah.
It's expensive playing the first 2 weeks of Standard. But we're looking here. The nice thing about, even though he started with the tapped land on one, Brad's deck, unlike the Black Green Delirium decks that were so popular with Emrakul, can pressure the combo deck. Eben's got kind of his best start here. Or one of them, with the 2-drop mana creature, so he can jump right up to 4. Something like here, just, to give you an example of value, if he dropped an untapped land here, he could Feldar Guardian, blinking, his mana door could create more energy.
Would not be a terrible place to be on turn 3.
And that's what you love about the 4-color list, is just there's so much, value. Oh, and Oath of Nissa, so nice to see this card back. Replaced by Traverse the Uvenwald more when Delirium was the fact, but the fact that this digs for the combo, it digs for the lands in your 4-color deck, lets you cast Saheeli with just darn near anything on the field.
And the mana for the deck's not too bad to begin with.
No, well,
Between the Servant of the Conduit and then the Oath being able to pick up the spots in the middle.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with your opening hands with the deck. I mean, once the engine starts rolling, pretty good, but passing with 3 potential mana open. And we've got a Winding Constructor on the field. Correct, Brad? We got a little glare there. Okay.
Walking.
I'm going to make a real obscure reference. A Walking Ballista for a walking opponent. Very few people in the world will actually get that joke. Eben will, but... Or anybody who saw the classic sci-fi movie Super Shark and their life was better for it.
Spellqueller's still a good card, turns out.
Spellqueller's still a good card. I think Spellqueller's actually taken a bit of a dip, given that everyone is playing instant speed removal these days because of the Saheeli combo. It dies to a lot more things.
It is true.
Yeah.
At least it doesn't die to an undervolted push. That is not a bad place.
Yeah.
If it was one of the few times where something being cheaper might not be the best thing.
Yep.
Again, just one of the the baseline value plays that 4-color deck can make. 2 energy a card and a 3/2 body. In any other format, that would be a grave insult, but he's actually referring to clue tokens.
I wonder what card he could be playing that makes clue tokens.
Well, there are so many that see regular play.
Oh man, it was Tireless Tracker. Oh, who would have guessed?
No. Tireless Tracker just fits so nicely in.
And a clue.
A not insignificant body, works with the counter percentage of Winding Constructor, keeps the cards flowing. It really is a linchpin of the black-green decks,
Shock.
which is why you see him spending a shock on it.
So this dies still in
An unanswered tracker can sometimes just take over a game.
Yeah. Fatal pushes, and this is why I say, that just dies. Now, that's why Spellqueller is very good against Walking Ballista, but Spellqueller dies to a lot of stuff. It's getting splash damage from so much, cheap instant speed removal being forced into the format by the Saheeli combo. In fact, I believe one of the writers on Star City, Todd Stevens, said he cut it from his Jeskai Saheeli deck and just went with negates and dispels because he found it just died too much in testing. Okay, well, we see one half of the combo. He can cast it this turn, but that doesn't open up to any removal spell. Yeah, but as I see again, just the utility of Tireless Tracker, it ate a removal spell, still's going to get the card from the clue token, and force the opponent to react. A 4-mana, half a Mull Drifter.
Now with more energy.
Now with more energy. Well, I mean, everyone drinks energy drinks these days. Now, Evan's done quite a bit, and, he is literally one Planeswalker away from winning the game, assuming no interaction from Brad. Brad just has a Winding Constrictor on the field, yet still completely in this because the power of Winding Constrictor with the rest of the synergies in the deck. I mean, one Walking Ballista on 6, can completely turn this game around.
Be a pretty big ballista.
Yeah.
Just Winding Constriction. It's such a good place in the curve in the deck. It just makes everything else so great.
Oh, yeah. And it's still a 2/3 for 2.
Yeah. It's a solid body on top of all of the value it brings.
Yeah. Yeah. Another underrated piece of Walking Ballista, it's both creature and artifact, enabling, Delirium so much more easily. Brad's still one piece away.
Also, if you really need to, you can play it on 0 to enable your Fatal Pushes.
Very true.
I don't know if that's the place you want to be, but you can do it.
Well, sometimes if you're gonna die to a copycat.
Yeah. I guess you could also just remove all the counters on it instant speed and make it die to it.
That seems a little more
That does
value
seem-
oriented.
Tracker.
Got another tracker. Yeah. Now with enough mana open to crack the clue, so we can react to any shock potentially from Eben. And with mana up, asking Eben, does he want to play Saheeli if it's in his hand?
I didn't look too in depth at the lists this past weekend. I just watched some of the feature matches. What all instant speed removal does the green black deck have other than Grasp? I'm assuming
Grasp
Fatal
of Darkness
Push.
and Fatal Push. They are often running a Ruinous Path or two just to, because the combo's not instant speed, you can take care of the Planeswalker early. But, besides, you got Grasp, you got Fatal Push, and of course Walking Ballista is a Ballista on, 1, prevents the combo.
Yeah.
Because it's creature and
Shoot
player. Yep, you just shoot the
Shoot that.
Saheeli with her trigger on the stack. So, the fact that you have a card that plays into your game plan and, as a result, colds the combo on board, you can have multiple pieces of interaction very easily without playing a card that's completely dead. Oh, we've got Felderhard Guardian number 2. Eben's drawn at least, I believe it's 4 cards
Yeah.
off these guys so far? Yep.
Mana.
The clues also help your Fatal Pushes.
It's true. Just all the subtle synergies.
Yeah.
Turns out sometimes making you permanent leave the battlefield is not that big of a requirement.
No.
When dude died in combat, cracked a clue.
But the late games are much better once you have a chance to set up. The beauty of Modern, of course, is you can start Revolt on turn 1 if you really want to.
Fetch lines are good.
Yeah. Because there needed to be something else to make them fantastic.
Even if you don't, Revolt of Fatal Push still kills most of the relevant things in Modern.
Yeah, if you're
Like
paying
sort of
4...
Kalidas or Delve creatures that it
Yeah,
can't kill anyway.
If you're paying for 4...
Renegade.
We now have a rather large Tireless Tracker. And the Winding Constrictor can rumble, if it so wants to.
Bring the pain. 4/5 is
Okay,
not irrelevant.
we've got a tapped Blooming Marsh, adding another clue to the battlefield. Brad still at a healthy 12. Eben at his opening life total. It's usually supposed to be the other way around, the black-green deck chipping away at the combo deck's life total.
I don't believe this is what we call a board state.
Can't attack this turn. So
Servant Conduit, which I believe has been chilling in his hand quite a bit. Now, Brad, were you just sacking that because you never wanted to tap out against the combo starting on turn 4?
yeah, I need to leave up open grasp.
And that's the perfect example of why the
Rickshaw allows me to tap these guys for mana. These aren't counting as energy.
True.
So I still have grasp mana open.
Yep.
Yep.
But just a perfect example about how the combo, even when you don't have it, completely forces your opponent, to play their deck differently. Whirler Virtuoso. What?
Some of these cards are kind of hard to,
Yeah.
especially the ones I'm not as familiar with the art. It's really hard to tell at a distance. And I'm kind of blind to begin with.
Yeah. I think after this game, we'll probably scoot the table just.
Yeah,
Evan's
just a
way
bit
about a
because
foot.
yeah, Brad's combat zone's pretty glary. The glare remains, but thank you for trying.
It helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a lot, a little bit.
The Tyler Striker, the creature between the servant and the snake.
Yes, the Tyler's Tracker currently has 4 counters on it, I believe.
Yeah.
Pretty big Tyler Striker.
Yeah.
It's
The
not
Winding
big as
Constrictor
we've
has
seen,
2,
but it's pretty big.
and as Brad helpfully pointed out, they can be tapped for mana.
Is it Rishkar? Is that the one that makes him tap for mana? The legendary elf?
Yeah.
Does it make him tap for any color or just green? Not recall.
Well, let me check the card.
Vote of mana.
It is
How much?
add green to your mana pool.
Okay.
So he actually doesn't have Grasp up.
He is a servant.
The Servant, yeah. The Servant has Summoning Sickness.
That's true.
I was tapped out.
Yeah, he's tapped.
True.
I really need an energy counter. Garrett, you want to find me one?
Yeah.
Think of that TV, so stable.
Blue. This mana.
5 mana. That usually only means one thing in this deck. The Green Daddy Gearhulk.
Well, unfortunately, he killed our constrictor. We'd kind of be going off.
The value does unparalleled.
Trample's going to be super relevant this game, I feel like, so I need to put some counters on this first.
Day tramplers for 5 are awful good, I hear.
Yeah.
Could be worse. He's slightly above rate.
Well, usually if you have a board, you usually want to split them. You don't want to go all your eggs in a single
I
basket.
want to be able to
rarely.
leave open grass mana, so I don't want to tap either of these. So if you removal spells in a turn, and then, you can untap kill this and place a healing potentially, but it's still better to play around the removal spell.
Yeah.
I think, given the board state, you need to start swinging. 5, 6, 7 toughness, so you need to block with 3 things.
he was really hurting from the lack of a walking ballista over the last, say, 4 turns.
Yeah.
That he'd just be machine gunning down Eben's board as we speak.
Walking ballista. For the amount of time he had the snake on board, too, the walking ballista would have
Yeah.
just been an insane draw.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the beauty is he just, especially with the Rishkar, I mean, he's putting, 3 counters on a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to the walking ballista, and then on instap just murdering Eben's board.
Also, even, like, ideally, if he had the ballista before with the snake and then gear Hulk the ballista, it just...
Well, yeah, but
That just obvious value.
once you already had the ballista and the snake, that's that kind of lock goes in. Harness is then one of Eben's only.
Sure.
Now, what I like here is Eben went up. Why? Because there's no reason to go for the combo now. He's winning the game. But now he's putting even more pressure. If nothing else, he's forcing Brad to keep some mana open each turn.
He's definitely
Yeah.
now at the point where you can't tap out.
Yeah.
So it's not a hypothetical
Not only can't tap
anymore.
out, but he's going to force Brad into some attacks that maybe Brad wouldn't be comfortable with because Brad has to end the game soon.
Even if he's just using the Saheeli to flicker or make copies of things for value, not going
Yeah.
for the combo. It's just
Also
getting.
put him on a 2-turn clock
Yeah.
instead of a 3-turn clock.
Yep.
That is true.
Listen.
I don't think. Well,
For 3.
yeah, waiting to put counters on until he plays the ballista.
Take the
Playing the Nissa first, trying to bait out a potential spell queller out of Eben's hand. Now, it might be tempting for most players to just use the ballista to kill Saheeli right now. But then he would just be dead to a top deck Saheeli or one that's still in Eben's hand. And with Rishkar on the field, he doesn't quite have 4 mana though, unfortunately. He's just got 3 untapped. 1 with Summoning Sickness.
And it's 4 mana to put another counter on it.
Yep. Well, it seems only fitting that we drew the 4th one.
Yep.
I really like the card Evan just drew. A fine addition to the type of decks. If he chooses to play it, we can talk about it more. Okay, go for the value play.
Sure. Kill it.
attack.
That board state, though, that is
Yeah,
busy.
well, I mean, he's at 8. He can only block 3 creatures, and he's going to lose the Walking Ballista. Yeah, either way.
6, 7, 8, 9. Alright.
Now, can use the Ballista to take out 2 Thopters. To go to 1.
Damage? Yeah. 1. Shock.
Now, Evan is potentially dead on the backswing. Plays 1 blocker.
That's what that card was.
Yeah.
I didn't get a great look at it when he drew it.
Yeah, it's 2 of the 3 dudes.
Oath of Chandra, the card I really like. When you've got the Guardian, in the format, permanents with ETBs have a significant, value to the deck.
Oh no,
It's just
2 from the gear bolt.
a pile of value.
Yep. Now I do wonder.
Simple. Is the 1 blocker?
So, yeah, if Brad has a removal spell here or a way to pump his Trampler, that, we may have it.
You're at 20. Yep.
The Tracker's 10 power. The Gearhulk's 8. And then Rishkar is 5. Tracker does not have.
You're on 7.
7. 5 is 12.
Oh, 7, you're right. He's a 4/4, not a 5/5.
12. What's here? 8 damage.
Hissing Quagmire.
God, fast. Alright. I really need to keep one. Oh, only so much mana. What is that one? Yeah, well, the decision making process is whether I play this Constrictor with a Gear Hulk or I fire this up. Because I get basically, 6 counters off this instead of. No. If I do, well, no, I would need to divvy it up against 4 target numbers. But if I play this, I'm not going to give any to itself. Isn't it? This says if one or more counters will be placed on our creature control, that many of those counters plus 1. Oh, plus
It's
1.
worded like
Yeah.
it's worded more like Heart and Scales and not.
So the question is, if
actual
I,
numbers.
if I
Yeah,
fire this
that would
off
be
and
even
I
better.
do 1, 1, 1, 1, well actually it'd be 1, 1, 2, then you block here, you take 4, 11 plus 5, 16, so that's not lethal.
Yeah. Now, the other potential question, if he has a land still in hand, he could get a clue and try to draw top deck a removal spell. Fatal Push, Grasp of Darkness, Ruinous Path, all would win him the game here quite easily.
Well, he has a Thopter that blocks.
Does he have enough? Oh, you have 3 energy. Okay.
So, I don't think kill him.
Let's see.
He gets to make a flyer, so I need to go to 2 flyers.
They got you, everybody.
Well, let's
don't believe it's a removal spell.
It's all egg in there.